Hello and welcome. I'm Derek Smith, and this is Pop-Up Camper Pro. Let's start with which units came from the factory with power lift. For Coleman and Fleetwood, it was the largest models. For Somersets, it was all the 12-foot box models. Somerset did produce two smaller units for about 2 years, a Newport and a Chesapeake. Those pop-up campers had manual cranks. There are two common types of power lift motors, round drive and square drive. The round drive has a round shaft with a drive pin. These are the most popular lift motors factory installed on Coleman and Fleetwood campers. Square drive motors have a squared output shaft. These started to appear around 2007 and they were found on the largest of Coleman and Fleetwood campers and Somerset models. For a size comparison, you can see how much larger the square drive is. It's easy to check the style of motor that your camper has. Simply unplug it with a 5/32 Allen wrench, back off the 3 pinch bolts that are pinning it to the housing, and slide it off of the camper. The current limiter is the control box is feeding voltage to the lift system. It has a microprocessor inside that senses when the roof is almost all the way up and lowers and cuts off the voltage. This is the new style and what's available today. It uses the silver end remote control. The old style current limiters used a remote that looks like this. Has a black end and the buttons are on top of the remote. These remotes we can still get. The limiters that they plug into are no longer available. If your camper has an old style limiter and needs a replacement, you have to upgrade to the new style and the new remote. Now, if you're watching this video, you're likely here to diagnose a power lift issue you may be having, wondering what component you may need to replace, if any. Or maybe you're thinking about adding power lift. Maybe you're here to see if I was going to draw something crazy on the chalkboard. Let's cover what typically goes wrong with power lift systems and some common fixes. For the motors, it can be too much lift system resistance or manually cranking it with the electric brake engaged one too many times. Resistance could be a failing thrust bearing, a cable issue, pulley issue, or binding in the lift arms. Or it could be lack of maintenance. There are yearly maintenance schedules you want to do to your camper. We have a video covering this topic. I'll add links below. If you ever have to use the override, unplug the motor first. That disengages a powered brake in here. So raise it all the way up, then plug the motor back in to lock it. Next is don't plug the camper in when you're using the power lift. Plugging into even standard 15 household power can cause problems down the long road with the limiter. Hey honey, come on in. Oh, come here, they love you. You guys want to see Michelle, right? When you're using the power lift, just use the camper's 12-volt battery. Or if you have to, piggyback to your tow vehicle. Now you want to make sure you're receiving enough voltage from the battery. The 12-volt power coming to the system may be traveling through your camper's main wiring harness. Over time, wiring can have issues and lead to insufficient voltage to the system. To fix this, you can wire this directly to the battery. It's an easy upgrade that'll solve lack of power issues. If you do, I recommend that you add a 40 amp breaker. Here are the voltages that the system requires to work properly and what to expect at the limiter when you're raising and lowering the roof. Could it be the remote? I know they don't like to be left outside or rained on. If that happened on your last camping trip and now it's not working right, it's probably a failed remote. The buttons should all depress and spring back, and you want to make sure you keep the connections clean. A popular question I get asked a lot is, can I add power lift to my camper? In most instances, yes. Some pop-ups are definitely easier than others. For Coleman and Fleetwood pop-ups, The answer is 12-foot box and larger. These campers are commonly preset for power lift to be an option, and the OEM lift system parts are still available. For small pop-up campers, expect some fabrication, especially if your wiffle tree is located more to the center of the camper. I really want to thank you all for watching and subscribing and for all the support over the years. I couldn't do it without you. I will see you guys at the campground.